Okay, my beautiful friends, it is Monday, December 27th, 2021. What's so special about this day? Well, I already told you, yesterday I believe it was. Today, theoretically, marks the first day of the so-called Santa Claus rally. Okay, all well and good. This is a relatively common occurrence on Wall Street. It's no guarantee that we're going to get a rally here in the market, but let's look at the setup this morning. Okay, we got stock futures higher. So right out of the gate, trading doesn't start for about 40 minutes. If things do not change, stocks will begin the day higher. But let's look at a few other things and try to gauge where things most likely will go. We got crude oil under a little bit of pressure here. However, still over $73 a barrel. So that's not a bad setup for the market. The dollar this morning, or the relative strength of the dollar, the Dixie, is slightly higher. That's not great for the market. The 10-year yield, 1.48, relatively stable. Yield curve looking okay here. All right. So the setup, I wouldn't say is phenomenal. It's not terrible. It's kind of like right in the middle here. So let's see how this plays out. Today, the rest of this week here. Again, this phenomenon of a Santa Claus rally, we all know what's behind this, and I've explained this to you before. It's very easy. You got these corporations here whose management bonuses are based on year-end stock price. So generally, they try to prop this up so these bonuses are bigger and fatter for the management. And so we get this, Santa Claus rally generally every year. Again, no guarantees here, but again, the setup isn't great, but it's not bad here for the market. And it doesn't really matter. Look, with regard to you and me and our strategy on this market, what we are looking to do is be in this market, obviously, make money in this market, take advantage of everything that there is around us. But we're not looking to get into like these little hype events or a hype stock or one of these kinds of things. I am a very steady player in this market, and that's what I want you to be. Again, we're not going to change our strategy based on, a so-called Santa Claus rally or the possibility of one. Or we're not going to jump on the bandwagon on some like XYZ stock that's getting hyped up on social media. We're not ever going to do that. I never do that. All right? You got to stick to your game plan when it comes to the market. You understand? When you deviate from your plan, at least a plan that works, well, you're opening up a door to get yourself in a lot of trouble. And that's not what I want for myself or for you. You understand? Very simple, very straightforward. All right. So anyway, let's look at a few other assets here. Bitcoin is over 51,000 as I am doing this video blog. Gold and silver under a little bit of pressure here. Okay, whatever. We know the games with gold and silver. It's not going to stop until it does. And you know what I always tell you? Let them play their games. We are going to play our games. We understand the situation is dire. A global hyper debt bubble unlike anything we've ever seen. And it's not going to stop for a long time. If you were watching Bloomberg this morning, I was watching Bloomberg this morning, they had some freak out there talking about, oh yeah, we're going to see how the market reacts when the Fed starts to taper. They were supposed to have tapered already, and they tapered nothing. Rate hikes, forget about any of this stuff here, people. I'm telling you, if you've been with me for any length of time, you have to realize that my record with calling what the Fed would do is second to none in the world. I've only been wrong about what the Fed would do 2 times in the last decade. I would say that's a pretty good record. And I'm telling you right here and right now, whatever comes out of their mouth, don't believe it. I mean, that should go without saying here. They are public enemy number freaking one. All they've done is lie to us from the get-go. You remember transitory? That didn't work out so well. Inflation continues to surge. They knew it wasn't going to be transitory. Inflation was not going to be transitory right from the get-go. How did they know? Because we knew. Okay, they're not that stupid. Their job is to manipulate people's minds, get them to look here, not look over here. They're blaming the virus that's going around. Oh, it's the virus. It's the virus. It's not us. The fact that we're buying trillions of dollars every month worth of assets and printing cash out of thin air. Oh no, that we're running an inflation creation machine. Oh yeah. It's not the fact that we're, issuing debt through this door and then buying it back through another one every single day. Oh, that has nothing to do with inflation here. And it's kind of interesting too. I recently showed all of you a chart of the money velocity. The rate at which cash is moving through our economy is at historic lows. We've never been lower. That means our economy is going nowhere. You cannot have an economic recovery. You cannot have an economic boom without cash moving through the economy. Okay, we all got that down, and we are at historic lows. Meanwhile, we're seeing inflation surge out of control. Could you imagine what's going to happen when cash actually starts to move? I've covered this at length for years, okay? Cash is not going to really start moving until we get a debt market implosion. When we get that debt market implosion, which is coming, it's on the horizon. When? Don't know, don't care. But we know it is going to happen, okay, by design. This is not, again, no miracle. It's going to happen by design here. But we're way off from that. Again, I will keep you all way ahead of the curve when it comes to that whole thing. I have my eyes on all the dynamics of this market to protect myself, get myself on the right side, and you too. But we're already there. Again, if you have been with me for any length of time, you got this entire market covered. Upside down, backwards, and sideways. You are in risk on assets, meaning the market. You're in risk off assets, meaning gold, silver, cryptocurrencies. To me, cryptocurrencies are risk off assets. You all know that. Anyway, so, look, they could throw anything they want at us. We got it covered here. And I love it. We're sitting pretty. I can sleep at night and not worry about what the market's going to do in the morning. And I hope that's you too, because we have a long-term plan and we take advantage of the short-term moves in this market. Again, how do we do that? You can do it by doing one thing, setting up credit spreads, people. I've been talking about this forever. If you want to get a little more fancy, you could be selling puts onto the market. You should not be buying calls, in my opinion, unless you are a real pro at doing that. And trust me, I played that game for years. And if you are not on top of the market around the clock and you're not hedging your bets, you're in a lot of trouble. Anyway, so with that said, we're not going to deviate from anything that we are doing. We're going to keep our mind focused on what's going on around us here and watching the shit show just unfold. It's very, very simple. Anyway, the other thing that we have to keep our eyes on, again, it's more propaganda about moronic, okay? And they're talking about, boosters on a regular basis here. Imagine my shock. Really? You mean Big Pharma wants to pump you full of chemicals on a regular basis so they can watch their bottom line surge moving forward? Oh, yeah. And then they have their spokesperson out there, Dr. Fauci, who's trying to sell you vaccines. I can only imagine what this guy must be getting kickbacks from the Big Pharma. They must be making him exceedingly rich. Man hasn't practiced medicine in over 40 years. Oh, yeah, but he's an authority. You can't make that stuff up if you try to, people. Anyway, let's look back just real quick. The Santa Claus rally setup, I wouldn't say is great, but it's not terrible. Stock futures are higher. Crude is under a little pressure, but still $73 a barrel. Crude's going much higher moving forward, people. Much, much higher moving forward. We're going to continue to buy the dips in this market. We're not going to deviate from our strategy. We're going to keep our eyes on the MMRI, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator. It's the best best risk indicator that has ever been created, in my opinion, to gauge market risk. Again, link in the description of this video. That same link will take you to my lovely website with all kinds of free stuff for you. And my chat room there. Take advantage of these things, people. It's all free. I pay to have that chat room there, so I hope more of you get involved in there. I just opened up more rooms more spots a couple of weeks ago, so I think there's some available. And if those spots fill up, I will open up more for all of you. All right, people, look, we got this set up. We know what we're doing here. We're not going to change. You and I are steadfast, and we are focused like a laser on what we need to do, at least from a financial standpoint, people. This whole thing is so twisted. It is so distorted, and it's leading up to a climax that 98% of the world is not ready for. These distortions which exist in this market are going to persist for a prolonged period of time. But when they correct, and they will, it's going to change everything. It's going to change everything, and I mean everything. Everything is being set up right now. You look at the setup here. We're in an economic free fall. We have a stock market that continues to go higher. S&P 500 Thursday, new record high. Okay. Meanwhile, the bad economic news keeps on coming. It's not going to stop. This week, we're going to get more bad economic news, and more than likely, the stock market will go higher. What a phenomenon, isn't it? It's so freaking sick. But again, we're going to win. No matter what they do, we can't lose. If we just stick to our guns, we remain, focused on what we need to do, at least from a financial standpoint here, it's out of control. And but again, in moments like this, there's great opportunity, and that's what I always tell you about this channel. It's all about opportunity. All right, look, I'm out of here before this video gets stupidly long. I'll see you later, and just keep your eyes open.